So the headlines read, Springboks to sell off 20%. And we're like, what are they selling? What is this about? Is it even true? What is the actual plan here? Saru, an actual thing, giving away 20% or selling off 20% of the Springbok name? Welcome to it. It's Sports That Amplified with Andile. And thank you so much to the Touchdown. They do it again tomorrow between 3 and 6. Always lovely. I spend so much of my time sitting in the car when I should be coming up here to discuss the show with my guys, because I'm just busy listening. I'm busy listening to the show, listening to the Touchdown. Always enjoy it. Thank you, Tabo. He's back again with his entire team tomorrow between 3 and 6. But until then, 7 o'clock, we keep you company. Faith comes in at 7, and then the music continues on Metro after the talk period. That is at 9 o'clock. When I reflect on a lot of yesterday today, we spoke to Tim Sugazi. So if you're wondering about the accident that led to today's game against Sundowns in Bombela being postponed, so we'll get those details from the man himself. We did give him a call yesterday. It is a little bit gory. I must give you that warning up front to say when we did speak to him and he explained what the accident was about, and he even said yesterday that they're going to be asking for a postponement, and they obviously granted that postponement. Not everybody happy about it, but the postponement was granted. We'll play you that clip. And if you are a sensitive person, or if you do fear some sort of trigger from an accident, I would advise that you don't tune in for that part there. Also, Kaizer Chiefs winning a game yesterday. We come on the radio and we speak about every time they don't win. Yesterday they won a game, so congratulations to the mighty Amakosi. But it's the way in which the youngster, he's 19, yeah? He's 19 years old, Duba, who scored the goal and won man of the match. It's his confidence, man. Orlando Pirates, he's got a message for you. He wants to say something about the derby. He's got a message for you, so I'm going to play you that clip of the young man when he's asked about it's the derby this weekend. Another big thing at Kaizer Chiefs is that Itumeleng Khune's suspension has been lifted just before the derby, on the weekend of the derby. Should we read something into that? I mean, surely he's not going to be part of that 11. Not with what Bruce Boomer's been doing. Keeping another clean sheet? So surely not. I don't think so, at least. But you never know. He's back, and maybe he's good for the confidence of the boys in the dressing room and on the bench. I don't know. So we'll get a little bit into that as well. We'll look at some of the games that are going to be playing today. We'll go back to the games from the weekend. But let's take a break. When we come back, we'll get into it. It's 11 after the hour 6. My name is Andile Ncube, alongside with my entire team. Malcolm is here, Timmy T is here, Beatso's here, as well as the genius, Tabongwala.
On behalf of the football fraternity, on behalf of Kaizer Chiefs, on behalf of the chairman himself, we'd like to send our condolences to the Mkonza family. May his soul rest in peace, and may it rise in glory one day when I'm in heaven. Thank you.
13 after the hour 6. We continue to mourn here at the SABC, at SABC Sport on the mighty Metro FM, particularly on Sports That Amplified with Andile's team that comes in on Friday, which Mkonza was a part of. And I'm so happy that we got to do that. Very happy that we got to be that close, where we had that connection every single week. So we'll continue to build up to Friday, Podcast Friday, when the guys come in, when we'll celebrate Mkonza, but a little bit every day leading up to then as well. I think there's going to be details probably tomorrow morning of the memorial, as well as the funeral, which is all going to be happening this weekend. So we'll share those details with you as soon as I am able to get my hands on them. They might be out already, though. If so, we'll let you know by the end of the show today. Let's look back at yesterday's games, starting with Tim Sugazi. No, we'll have Tim Sugazi last, because that's on today's game. Let's go to the DSTV Premiership. Kevin Johnson says that the mighty Amakosi are back.
What a game of football. I thought we played very well in the first half, and we get a goal from a 19-year-old that has been knocking on the door for a while now. We are also happy that we have our 8th clean sheet, and we score a goal, and we're back on track.
Kevin Johnson also goes on to predict the bright future of young Wandile Duba.
To judge him on one game will be premature, but to judge him on the training sessions and the mentality and the attitude he's had at training, and he probably has a long way to go with Kaizer Chiefs, and he just has to keep on cutting the cloths, and he'll get some. He won't get some, and if he stays humble, then I think he'll be a good striker.
Well, I don't know about a lot of things, but I know that he's a confident 19 years old. This is the Andile Mdodana on his debut, his goal, and the Soweto derby.
I've been working very hard since from the mini preseason. Been working very hard and wanting to get on the starting 11. Coming to this game, they did tell me that if I believe in myself, I will score a goal because I've been working hard since from the training. Before then, Manchester Derby, Kellogg's. It's not something you can worry about, but then I think my fees are something, but in the crane for it. Yes.
Abang Lindele, yes. That's his answer on how does he feel about the derby. He says, you saw what Phil Foden did. I did the same thing. He calls it Kellogg's. Kellogg's. I love the confidence. I love it. To be 19 and that free, enjoying your game is a beautiful thing. The opposite of that, of course, is Maputi Kanyeza, who has not had a good time at Golden Arrows. 11 defeats now. Here's Maputi Kanyeza now taking the blame for it. Do you have it? All right, we'll get back to that one there. Maputi Kanyeza speaking on his 11 defeats out at Golden Arrows. So there's supposed to be a game today. Mamelodi Sundowns and TS Galaxy, highly awaited because obviously of the bad blood between the two coaches. Unfortunately, that match will not take place. This is where the story begins. Last night, we gave a call to Tim Sugazi after hearing about the accident that his team had in their team bus on their way to Mbombela. Have a listen to this. This is Tim Sugazi speaking on the bus accident. Right, we're going to take Tim Sugazi very quickly. He is in a hurry, but we had to take him because of the reports on social media that the bus of TS Galaxy has had an accident on the way to the game. Tim, thank you so much for taking our call and welcome to the show.
Thank you, Andile, and good evening to you and good evening to your listeners.
Firstly, before anything, is everybody okay?
Well, yeah. Well, let me start by obviously also conveying our sincere condolences to the Mkwanza family. The news of his passing got to me while we were on our way to Mbombela. Otherwise, from our side, everyone is fine physically, yes, but then mentally, emotionally, they are quite traumatized, to be honest. They are very traumatized, and what traumatized them is what they saw, they experienced. Not easy to just come into a very close shape, with a head-on collision, and thereafter see someone obviously passing on, see a car flying into a rock, and then she passed on. It was a single driver who came head-on, on a curve straight to our bus. 50 meters, 30 meters, 20 meters, she somehow realized or woke up and tried to swerve again back to her lane. She caught the corner of our bus and her car flew and she hit a rock high up there on a hill or mountain, and it came back to ground, and she didn't survive the accident. So quite traumatized, to be honest. I got to the scene maybe some, 2.5 hours after the accident. But then I got there when the responsible officers were pulling her body out of the car. But you can imagine our players obviously got stuck in that scenario for 2 hours, with the deceased person still lying around there inside the car. So it was a very traumatic experience for our young guys and our coaching staff. You can see it in their eyes that they are very, very affected. So all is well, but not so well.
You've got Sundowns tomorrow, a big game. Are you going to ask for some sort of postponement? Because what you're telling me, I can't deal with it and I'm not there.
Yeah, man. We're a league that is run, obviously, by the executive. We'll take opportunity. I had to come down to training as I am here now to also assess again the situation, and thereafter we'll send a communique to the league and to our colleagues at Sundowns for the league to make a determination and a decision, or at least guide us to how matters like these are dealt with, but then the best would be for sure a postponement, but these things, are beyond our control. The executive can make a determination and decide. Hopefully they can decide in that manner, but then of course if we are asked to honor the game, there's nothing else we can do.
I mean, and I say this not because you're on the line. It's something that we've been speaking about here on this show for the last 2 weeks. The clash tomorrow between TS Galaxy and Mamelodi Sundowns must be one of the most awaited for games in South African football, bar the derby on the weekend. This is the match that the whole country wants to see, and, we'd love to see it on equal paddles. We'd love to see it when, there isn't things like this that are barring it. But, Tim, to you, your players, and, of course, the family of the person who, of course, we don't know yet that lost their life in this accident. It's been that sort of day, and we just pass our condolences to everybody, and we wish the players well as well for what they've had to go through. Terribly sorry for this, Tim.
No, thank you so much, Andile, man. Thank you for the support. Yes, the game is meant to be, and it's supposed to be, one of the most mouth-watering clashes in recent history, about the derby. And it's exciting. It means that our game in general is taking a certain direction in South African football, in that now we have, one more mouth-watering clash outside the derby. So we're all looking forward to it, to be honest. We've prepared well, and I'm sure our opponents have done the same. They will come in and feel their best, strongest side, and we'll obviously to go. As my brother Morgan put it, pound for pound, it will be that kind of a thing. But the outcome, I'm sure the public is curious as to what will be the real outcome. We're looking forward to it if it will happen.
Thank you so much for taking our call, Tim.
Thank you, Andy.
Really appreciate it. Tim Sugazi there. Of course, out at TS Galaxy, they had a horrific accident with a car driven by a lady who unfortunately lost her life in that incident. This was our conversation yesterday with Tim Sugazi. So that was last night, obviously, just before 7 o'clock, and the postponement granted. We saw it today. That game has been postponed to a later date, and which we'll inform you about. But here's what's pressing. There's an article in the Business Tech dated 4th of March. So 2 days ago when it came out, there was conversations already, because the headline is plans to sell 20% stake in the Springboks to American-based firm. A lot of people thought, there's no such, it's a false headline, but it did come from Business Tech, which is a reputable donation. So we'll get to the bottom of it. What is being sold in the Springbok conundrum? It's exactly 24 after the hour 6 on the mighty Metro FM. And let's just reflect on the results yesterday. But also I'd love to get, because there's a lot of Sundowns fans who feel a little disheartened by the decision not to play the match. They're citing their own previous experiences. But I'd love to hear from you with everything, really. Kaizer Chiefs' win yesterday. Dumile Nkune is back in the Kaizer Chiefs fold. And then over and above that, you've also got, the TS Galaxy Sundowns. That beef, in colloquial speak, that beef is just so rife. Let's reflect as well on yesterday's result. Kaizer Chiefs, Lamontville Golden Arrows, handing them yet another loss. Chiefs getting their first goal of 2024 and their first victory. They're 3 points to the mighty Amakosi. AmaZulu Morocco Swallows ended in a stalemate 1-1. Cape Town City beaten by Stellenbosch by a goal to 0 in the Cups derby there. And then Champions League as well. There was some Champions League. Oh, team, we didn't prepare for Champions League. Maybe we do it tomorrow, yeah? Maybe we do it tomorrow. We didn't prepare for Champions League. And today, Sekhukhune United will take Royal AM, and the match between TS Galaxy and Mamelodi Sundowns has been postponed, but Chippa United will play Richards Bay, Orlando Pirates, Cape Town Spurs, and you've also got SuperSport and Polokwane is also postponed, yeah? So that's the other match that is postponed there. Those two Tshwane teams not in action today, yeah? Timmy, come close. I need to make a call. I need to make a quick call to a friend. Should we do it now? No, let's do it after. Let's speak Springboks now. Let's do it after. We need to surprise somebody and just give them a call. But let's speak Springboks right now. The article was out in the Business Tech, but also it was out a little bit further. It speaks about Americans buying 20% of the Springboks. That's the headline. Many people not understanding what that means, because how do you buy a Springboks that is a South African national team? The rugby team of South Africa, called the Springboks, is a national asset. So how do you buy that? How is it that you can sell anything that is Springboks? Let me take you back a little bit. Do you remember that the name Bafana Bafana, who it belongs to? Do you remember that whole debacle about the actual name Bafana Bafana, the ownership of that name and the sale of that name? A lot of us, when that came out a couple of years ago, we all had a bit of shock as well, but we got to learn that things aren't always as straightforward as we think. And I think it's the same matter here. And as per usual, when it's things like this, Cash and Sport is where we're going. Nobile Ndlovu is the person that we reach out to, out at Cash and Sport. You can follow the page on Twitter. It's Cash and Sport, and he helps us with these matters. Nobile, thank you so much, and welcome to the show. It's been a while.
How are you, sir?
Hey, me, I'm always good, man. Welcome back home.
Hey, man, it's been a while. I haven't been in studio in a long time. I should come through and visit.
Listen, we here love it when we see our sons grow. You know, we hear you on all sorts of other shows now. We see you on television. We see you an international man, and we can only be proud.
And guys, you know, thank you so much for the platform. But you know, there's only one Maha and Timmy T show, and yeah, it's about time. It's about time.
Listen, man, help us out here. So the headlines read, Springboks to sell off 20%. And we're like, what are they selling? What is this about? Is it even true? What is the actual plan here? Saru, an actual thing, giving away 20% or selling off 20% of the Springbok name?
Yes and no. So what is actually happening is that Saru and a company called Andile Sports Group are going to form a company, which is a joint venture between the two of them. Saru will own 80% of this company. SA Rugby, will own 20% of this company. In exchange for that, SA Rugby will get an upfront payment of about 1.4 billion rand from Andile Sports Group, and SA Rugby will use that money towards development and women's rugby. However, in the long term, and we suspect this, the long-term play is about 3 to 5 years. The plan is to grow sponsorship, so they will use Andile contacts in the US and all over the place to grow sponsorship, broadcast revenue, and other commercial revenue. And the aim is to double the current commercial revenue that SA Rugby generates from SA Rugby experiences and the product. So is SA Rugby being sold? Not necessarily, but they are selling a share of the profit from SA Rugby to a company that they will be part of as well.
But perhaps let's take a step back and ask a basic question. When we say SA Rugby will be sold, what is SA Rugby?
So SA Rugby is the entity that represents the interests of players and clubs in South African rugby. So they are the entity all rugby players in the country have to sign an agreement to play for a club. All of those clubs are affiliated to SA Rugby. So SA Rugby is very similar to SAFA in football terms. They manage the business of rugby in South Africa.
So then when you sell 20% of SA Rugby, one of the biggest entities they manage is then the Springboks under this umbrella.
Correct. The Springboks, junior Springboks, and the women's box as well. So all of those. And the commercial revenue that is generated from that will essentially 20% of it going forward will be owned,
going to America.
Of the revenue, yeah. 20% of the revenue will go towards Andile Sports Group as part of this new agreement.
So I'm in two minds about this, because a part of me says, okay, cool. I'm not okay with the fact that 20% of SARU, South African Rugby Union, will be going to a different country altogether. Not even a rugby country, mind you. You know, because let's be with all honesty, the USA is not a big rugby country, but where they are is a huge marketing country. Every one of their sports is heavily marketed. So one part of me is a little bit annoyed with that, but the other part says they'll only be taking 20% of the money they're bringing in and making.
Correct. They have to pay to play, right? So their job is to generate much more revenue. If they can achieve their goal of essentially doubling the commercial revenue of SA Rugby, it doesn't matter whether, in my opinion, it doesn't, it can only benefit SA Rugby. That's if they achieve the revenue targets that they've met. And perhaps we can look at another deal to see if something like this is possible. New Zealand Rugby signed a very similar deal with a company called Silver Lake in 2021. they have just increased the shareholding of Silver Lake because that agreement has gone so well. At the last Rugby World Cup, New Zealand had by far the largest number of sponsors on the back of that agreement with Silver Lake. If Akali can do half as much as what Silver Lake have done for New Zealand Rugby, then the players will benefit, the franchises will benefit, development will benefit, and women's rugby will benefit. But it depends on whether they can do it or not.
And the obvious question would be, is there no South African company with the know-how, with the credentials, with the base in order to, facilitate the same kind of deals to internationally broaden the Springboks and Saru's reach? Is there no South African that can do this, that we're looking to America and selling off 20% of our rugby identity, really?
I think it's also the aim in trying to take advantage of the fact that the U.S. will hold the Rugby World Cup in the next, I think after Australia they will. So perhaps the aim is to say we can capitalize on this relationship, we can tap into the American market, which, rands and dollars is far different. If they can, and to answer your question, I don't know. We don't know which other companies SA Rugby spoke to. But
it would be the assumption that this was the best suited.
It would probably be the assumption. And there was another company actually which is called CVC Sports Capital, which is also another American company. So there's a lot of American companies looking to buy into Southern Hemisphere sporting entities and federations because they know that they can generate more revenue out of it. It already happened with the Sharks rugby team. It happened with New Zealand rugby. It's almost 100. From my sources, it's 100% done with Akali Sports Group. It's just a matter of the members saying yes and then making an announcement, but it's done. So it's going to happen.
Cash and Sport, your professional opinion, is this good for South Africa? Is this good for South African rugby? Is this good for the person buying the ticket to go and watch South Africa play? Because, those tickets are sold out 3-4 months in advance because people support South African rugby here. Is this good at the end of the day for the guy that spends his 200 rands or 15,000, depending on the ticket they're buying, to go watch South African rugby and support it?
Personally, I think the shareholding is a little bit too high at 20%. I would have been more comfortable at something underneath 10. But if they can achieve 50% of what their goals are, then there'll be no complaint. So on the balance of things, I think it's a good deal.
Cash and Sport, Ncube Ndlovu, follow him on Twitter. Always great to have you. Thank you so much for your educated insights.
Thank you, Ma'a. I will see you guys in studio soon.
Wish for it. 1835 on the Mighty Metro FM. Give us a call on 086 000 2160. WhatsApp on 060 552 7303. We've said so much covering different topics. So whichever it is that you want to go in on, please do. We'll take your calls and voice notes. I just want to make a very personal call right now. So, what I did is, as soon as, there we go, thanks to me. We have to call via WhatsApp now because she's in Saudi Arabia. Hello? Hello? Oh, Timmy. This line is not great. Come on, it has to come through. We have to have this conversation. We actually had to give respect in time for the newly appointed netball coach. So we couldn't call the assistant coach until, the netball coach had done her media round. Let's hang up and try again, Timmy. Once that had happened, then we could come back and say, let's speak to the assistant, a former captain of the Spring. Why am I whispering? A former captain of the Spa Proteas, who is now the assistant coach. And we've spoken to her so many times on this show, and we've seen her toil and trying to get to where she finally is, back in the Springbok Proteas fold. Zanele Mdodana. She's out in Saudi Arabia at the moment, and there we go. Come on. She doesn't know I'm calling. She probably thinks it's Timmy because we're calling with Timmy's phone. Hello? It's not Timmy. It's Andile, and you're live on Metro FM. Hi. All of you. Why are you smiling? You're live. Millions of South Africans are listening to you right now. Let me tell you, Zanele, let me tell you first, very quickly. So I wanted to call you on day one of hearing the news, right? But I had to observe protocol and allow the head coach to do her media rounds, you know? But it's been over a week now. I can call you my friend and say to you, I remember our first flight together when we sat next to each other and spoke for hours and you told me all your dreams. I can't believe you're living your dream. Congratulations, Zanele. You're a Protea again. She's going to be so mad at me after, but it's worth it. Congratulations, you're back, you're a Protea, you're doing what you love again. When do you land in South Africa? Where were you when you heard the news? Uh-huh.
Because I'm in Saudi Arabia, so then she was like, am I ready? And I'm like, ready for what? Yes, I'm ready to come home. I've been here for 3 months now, so I can't wait to be back home. And then she's like, no, I'm asking you if you are ready to be on the Spur Proteas bench. I'm like, what do you mean? And she said, you are the Spur Proteas assistant coach. And I just went. It was like, I wasn't like something about no, I don't know, like, no, it was like, she's saying something about app. I was like, what? And she said, yes, so that you can't read a word to anyone. Because we obviously announced you on Wednesday. Supersport will contact you for a recording, like a video, you know, that we will play on the day. So I went here and studied, so because I use VPN to connect to DSTV here, and on this day, of all of the days, it just didn't want to connect. And I didn't tell my family anything. So 12:30, because the announcement was at 1 in South Africa, I sent my dad a message to say, Dad, please watch 209 at 1 o'clock, and he's like, what's going on? I said, no, just watch, but also you need to video call me so I can watch it. So my dad video called me. This is like an 82-year-old man sitting there, like, prominent in the front straight. And I'm watching, and then Cecilia announced the Jenny. Obviously, when we were Jenny's very deserving of this.
She's the head coach, yes.
Yes, and then I think the lady who was, I don't know who it was, but says,
Mamba, yeah.
I see you still there's something else you want to, announce. And she's like, wow, the nice assistant coach. And then she says whatever she says, and then she's like, she's going to be here with us today, I don't know. But she did send us a video, and then she puts that video.
Oh.
I said, Andile. I knew, right? But still, it was like, this is official. Because, I mean, she could have said, I'm thinking of doing this, and then not really follow through about it. And I just sat there like, nah. My phone did not stop. Like, it's been going. And yeah, the support has been insane. I mean, I wish I was home to just soak myself in it, because the warmth, I could feel it. But
I'm so emotional, Digmamele ngoku.
I'm telling you, babe, it was something I don't know what I would have been doing if I was home in that space, with all these people, the players, the current players, texting, coach, we are so happy. We're so excited to work with you. My dad, my family, my, friends, players that I've played with, just unreal. Even my former boss, she was like, oh, so you knew when you were resigning that this is coming. I'm like, no.
This is in Cape Town now.
Yes. And what I knew is that I'm going back home, and I want to be close to my child. I want to be very involved parent. My child, 3 years impressed with what I've done here. They're like, we don't want to let you go, but can go home for the period of Ramadan. Then please come back with your ikama. We'll make all the applications and so because they're also hosting the Asian Games here in September for the first time since 1984. So they are like building a national team and they want me to coach that team and stuff. But the nice thing about this job with NSA is that it's not a full time. So I am allowed to, do other things.
Yeah, because I mean, netball from a Proteas point of view doesn't play all year. So you can still lend a hand in Saudi Arabia.
Yes, so those are the conversations there that we're still having. But I still see they said, let's talk when I come back face to face, and then we can see what the plan for the year looks like, and then if I can fit that in during that period, or September too. I mean, this is it. It's unreal.
I say this all the time. And I've said it to you in person. You're the first netball player I ever knew. It was you. You are my reference to South African netball players. You are that black fearless girl surrounded by so many white girls. And when you were captain and you led that team, I look at my little girls now and I say, I can't wait for them to find their inner Zanele, because you're a true hero. And to see you rewarded in this way, it's only the beginning. I can't wait for bigger things. But I'm excited for you, my friend. This call was impromptu, and I know I didn't tell you about it. It was just to say, congratulations. We're very proud of you.
Thank you so much. Thank you. I appreciate it. I know you are. Yeah, no, I can't wait to be home and just get the work done. Jenny and I have been chatting. We've been planning. I'll be in Gauteng for the African qualifiers, the twin runs. We need to sit down, look at what the calendar looks like and all of that. And we are a main team, the two of us. We're gonna do something really special for our country. I don't have that.
Can't wait to hug you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, my babe. Thank you so much. Thank you for the call.
Always. Zanele Mdodana, the new Proteas assistant coach, former captain of the team. Your dreams are valid.
All right, here we go. Call Metro FM now on 0860 002160. Drop us a voice note on 060 552 7303. Waking up, I'm too turned up.
Hi, Andile. With the return of Kune, it's just the Chiefs trying to motivate the team, calling up all the staff at Natural to be fully behind the team, not behind the scene, pulling all the kitchen sink and the scrub labs there to push the team forward against the mighty Buccaneers. Thank you so much, Andile in Breakendowns.
Good evening, Andile. How are you, my brother? Wandile Duba. That boy scored a cracker yesterday. That one was a stunner. 1-0 against Golden Arrows. Remember that Golden Arrows once gave Mamelodi Sundowns 5-0 under Mangoba Mngiti. Yesterday, Kaizer Chiefs back into winning ways. The boy was so brilliant yesterday. If he keeps on like this, he will have a bright future. It's Moses Mukwena Hamukwakwahila. Thank you.
Mr. Ma'a, this is unfair to Mamelodi Sundowns. What is happening? Yes, we mourn the death of someone who passed away. Kulengozi Tex Galaxy. But EPS at Melibe ibe consistent ngama decisions ewathathayo. Ipoint kaMadisha iyezwakala. Kumdlalo weRichards Bay kuthiwane ulokhuza ngoba phela nakhona kwasho nomdlalo ekhona bese groundini. Emva kwalokho iRichards Bay yaqhubeka adlala lo mdlalo lo. So iPSL ayibe consistent. Ayinga select ama-team athile. Angabikho omunye ozoba above omunye.
Good evening, Andre. Hey. Our heart is broken, brother, because the loss of your friend and the entire team of Friday, whenever we were with him, Konza, brother, we enjoyed the show. And that man was improving each and every time. He was giving us a very wonderful analysis. The way how he was analyzing football is a shock for us. And also our condolences should go to his family at this trying time, and Kaiser Chiefs. Cross Nation, bro, we are mourning, and to be honest with you, we will miss him cause his laughter and everything, bro. May he so rest in peace. This is Mike from Cape Town.
Thank you, Mike. Appreciate it.
Good evening, Andile.
Hey.
Andile, we've got Rudolph here, Makubelo, all the way from Van Vikspan village next to Bukwidi in Mokopane. Andile, it is with terribly pleading hearts to have accepted the untimely passing of lethal football legend, the Spiwe Mkonza. We say, may our living Lord fill the family with the Holy Spirit during these tough times to go through these terrible pains of losing their son. May God bless them. Thank you. Good evening.
Evening, Miss Andile. Yes, Bertrand Dusan from Divan. Yeah, first I just would like to send my deepest condolences to the family of Springbok. Yeah, that I'm none. Yeah, a sad week for our football. Yeah, unfortunate accident of Chess Galaxy also. Yeah, deepest condolence for the one that passed on, to the family. It's a sad week for our football. Big up, Joshua.
Good evening, Andile. It's Loazi here speaking.
Hello.
I would like to know which games in the PSL are to be granted postponement, or which ones are not supposed to be granted postponement, or they look at whose team is playing, or they look at the faces. I mean, there were games that were not granted postponement. The same Sundowns that is playing against, that was supposed to play against TS Galaxies, they asked for some of the games against the very same team to be postponed, but unfortunately that was not granted. So I would like to know if you can please explain to me which games are
I wish I could.
That, and which ones are excluded. Maybe you can give me clauses as well, where maybe I'll get clarity. I don't know, guys. Please, man, if you can. Thank you.
I'm not the person. I'm not the one. But I hear you.
Hi,
One last one. I want to take some calls.
Andile, good evening to the listeners. Andile, I just wanted to also say my 2 cents worth with regards to the postponement of the Sundowns game. I thought, in all fairness, it's the right thing to do. But then at the back of my mind, I'm reminded of an incident where our player, in fact 2 of our players, passed on. Sundowns was expected to play the following day. When Andile passed on, when Mojeka passed on 2 days later, we were expected to play. Our players were expected to play. There was nothing said about the trauma or anything else. You must be mindful of the fact that this player was their colleague. These players actually were their colleagues, and it was insensitive of the league not to postpone the game. They've done the right thing now by postponing the TX Galaxy one. I thought they would not postpone it. I'm a Sundowns fan. I'm a big Sundowns fan. I concur with them, but I think they should have postponed the Sundowns one. But I'm glad that they are self-correcting. Thank you so much, Spiwe.
All right, I guess that's a positive way to look at it. They're saying, let's not look at the wrongs they've done in the past, because we saw them as wrongs, but we see this one as a new way to doing things, which is right. So that's one way to look at it. But how do you really feel about it? Jimmy is out in Macau as per usual. No, Jimmy, kolem Jimmy, kenya kuitsaka fritag, cause nyaitu unya kubua Mkonza ne. Ya re tseka fritag. Abutsa Jimmy, Mkonza romufa nako hai fritag, and kinyaka Jimmy is an important part of that ka fritag. I don't want to waste it on a non-specific show for him. Let's go to Bonkosi. Bonkosi wants to speak about Chiefs. He's out in Dobsonville. Bonkosi. No, man, I'm always good.
Yes. ibuhlungu kakhulu ukuhamba komkhonza yazi liyaba nithini kodwa ngifuna ukuthi nje kwifamily yakhe lohlanga lungehlanga indoda ngesixhosa ithi ugqiba ukusebenza ithatha igaba layo isigqwaye igoduke
enkosi
so umkhonza wenzela umsebenzi wakhe
ugodukile
into ishokwe kodwa ngoku
no godukile
okwesibini Andile, something that I don't understand how PSL is running the South African football. Because now what happened, Sundowns was supposed to play TS Galaxy in the Black Label, whereby Sundowns players were in the national team, something that has never happened in the world, whereby a team is playing tomorrow and then the national team is playing today. But that game was not postponed. But now, because it's TS Galaxy, the game must be postponed, something that we don't like as supporters. There must no team that must be treated special. So we are not happy. We are now doing things, especially against Sundowns. Remember, I spoke about this last year. I said somehow Sundowns are losing the games on boardroom. Serious, Andile. Serious. Why the game was supposed to be postponed? Because no one say maybe there's a player that is injured or anything compared to what happened where Sundowns was playing the important game of the Black Label, and the people that are playing, the players are Sundowns, not Bafana, not Safa. Because if now Rulani now at the end of the season, he must come to the report.
But let me ask you this one question.
What did you win?
I just want to throw a spanner in the works. Are you saying a bus filled with players and technical team having an accident and ultimately that accident killing someone is in your view equal to players unavailable because they're playing for the national team?
I'm saying this, Andile, because of what happened. If the games between Sundowns and TS Galaxy was postponed, I was not going to say like this.
All right. No, I appreciate it. Thank you so much, Bonkosi, out in Dobsonville. TY is in Reimsig. Wants to speak about TS Galaxy as well. TY.
Andile le para la ka wara ke.
Ma timo ngotse TY mo like it's ke tie or be agmaro fo kentse full stop.
TY brother, you call it perfectly fine.
Talk to me.
First and foremost, in fact, rest in peace to Dr. Mnandi. Super sad loss, man. Rest in peace to the legend. But I think, Andile, if we're being honest, in Fitch, the boardroom has lost the fans, Fitch. The fans don't have belief in the team anymore. Mucheka Madisha passed away, there was no postponement. And Andile Ngonga passed away, there was no postponement. But when certain teams are just in a car accident, none of the players are injured, none of them are hurt. Nothing happens to them. We postpone everything, we can't continue. It honestly baffles me. Why do certain teams get special treatment? You know what I mean?
Do you not consider? Do you consider emotional injuries per se? You know, having seen somebody stuck in a car, losing their life, fighting, and then ultimately losing their life. What about that sort of psychological injury? I'm just asking, playing the devil's advocate.
I agree with you. But if I'm sitting next to a player today and tomorrow he's gone and tomorrow I must play again, where's my psychological damage?
Good
where's
point.
My psychological damage? What happens on the left must happen on the right. I feel like certain teams are getting special treatment. I'm not saying that what they went through is any less terrible, but when Sundowns lost two players in quick succession, nothing was cancelled. Everything went on like everything is fine. But now TS Galaxy are in a bus accident, which I sympathize with, but the PSL, hence I'm saying the PSL has lost the fans in the boardroom. They need to be able to, what happens on the left must happen on the right. What happens at TS Galaxy must happen at Sundowns. What happens at Sundowns must happen at Chiefs. Nalandaba fixture, Andile, if you look at it, the derby always plays on a similar date each and every single season. Why? But all the other fixtures are on different dates. But I can see it. Marai, let me stop there.
TY out in Reimsig. Thank you so much for that one. Let's go to Cape Town. Daba Oluhle wants to speak about the Sundowns postponement as well. Daba. Ndingcono kunawe manje engathi ufuna ucomplain.
Hayi, mina ngifuna ucomplain futhi. Futhi le ndaba ye-Sundowns ne-TS Galaxy.
Dimamela. Go for it.
I think it's a good move enziwe yi-PSL because mangimamela izolo nithi babe stuck for two and a half hours. So even psychological ibalimazile lento, and we're talking about the whole entire team, the tactical team. So I think it's a good move uba postpone. Ngiyaweza amasandawana compare ndilisandawana nami, but I think it's a good move enzo PSL.
I think you'd want to win when there's no excuses, yeah?
Yeah. because we know about coach wabo uzosibuyela masingambetha engathulimele sifune fresh.
No, I appreciate it. Let's go to David out in Ugurleni. David.
Thank you for taking my call. Greetings to the crew. Let me go straight to the point. Firstly, let me pass my condolences to both the Galaxy victim, and then as well as Skeshekesh.
No, thank you so much.
Let me come back to the postponement. I think we are being insensitive sometimes. There is a difference between postponement based on treatment and postponement just based on fixtures and so forth. And the second point I want to raise on that is that there was no trace of paper that was communicated from Sundowns to PSL to ask after the passing on, of which I'm one of the, I can say one of the Kembisa-based long admirers of Madisha. But it's unfair for people to come and compare what happened while TS Galaxy requested the PSL. There was no trace where Sundowns asked for postponement, like officially writing to the PSL and say there is a letter we did. Sundowns
actually, it's so long ago, David, and we go through so much, but I think there was, and I don't remember right now, so I can't really take you on that. My memory is not as good as it used to be. I'm an old dopey, but I'll look into that, and maybe tomorrow I'll give you a little bit of background into that. Timmy didn't hear your call, so but let's get back to that one tomorrow.